Do you love animated movies? 'Cause I sure do. It's finally time for episode 3 of my animated movie tier list series. It's been an extremely hot minute, kinda like 8 months now since episode 1 and 2. So let's just get into episode 3. Grab a snack, kick back, and get cozy. I hope this video brings you some joy, some laughter, and maybe you'll be intrigued and inspired to check out some of these awesome gems that I'm about to show you. I truly do hope that this video gives you some good vibes, and I sincerely hope that everyone is doing a-okay. I'm sending everyone an immense amount of love. Life doesn't seem real right now. It feels like I'm in a fever dream or like on autopilot. Literally, what? So let's get to giggling and feel a little bit better. And disclaimer, even though all these movies that I'm about to show you are mainly targeted towards kids, this video, along with the rest of my content, is not made for kids. I'm giving my full honest review and thoughts about everything in the movie, and there will be some spoilers, not too many at all, but this is your fair warning. I felt it was only fitting to film episode 3 right where I filmed episodes 1 and 2. And in episodes 1 and 2, you might have noticed a beautiful, lush green ponytailed palm sitting right behind me. She's not doing too good nowadays. Updated plant tour coming soon. Enough with plants, let's stay on topic. Back to movies. In episodes 1 and 2, you might recall that my assistant assisted me in making a fabulous tier list, and I will be using that again today, along with the same criteria and questions that I used, because those worked very well. So from best to worst, we have the perfect family harmony. Yeah, I'd buy this secondhand. I'd put this on for my nephew. Well, that was a movie, and I can't get that hour and a half back. And little side tangent about showing movies to my nephew. I did show him one of my all-time favorite movies, and it is now his favorite movie, Boss Baby, let's go. I still need to review that, along with Boss Baby 2, so that'll be in a later episode. However, my recommendations are really good, obviously. So, okay, let's just get into it. Cowabunga, dudes, we're starting off with a classic. The movie is Surf's Up. This premiered on June 2nd, 2007 from Sony Pictures. One thing that I will be adding to the criteria questions is the overall movie budget and how much it made in the box office. I did not include this in episodes 1 and 2, and I wish I would have because it is so intriguing, and some of them I'm like, ugh. But anyways, according to my sources, the production budget for Surf's Up was $100 million. That seems kind of like a bit higher up on the end compared to the other movies that I've ranked or will be ranking, but $100 million. And this movie made $58,867,694 in box offices when it opened in theaters. So, is this movie entertaining, and did it keep my attention the entire time? I really enjoyed this movie. Oh my god. Literally very underrated. Why does no one talk about this movie? It's so good. I wrote in my notes that it's basically Abbott Elementary, but for penguins, because the entire thing is filmed in a documentary style crew. I love that. That is such a unique aspect for the movie. The way it's filmed, it's like someone's actually holding the camera. We get like little behind the scenes and interview type things with like the family members and whatnot. It's just really cute. And one thing, this movie was advertised as a true story. I don't know how they were even able to say that, but funnily enough, they did end up changing it right before it dropped in theaters, and they said it is a major ocean picture. That's good. That's real good. Does this movie make me laugh out loud or just giggle on the inside? From the moment this movie began, all the way through, I was giggling, laughing, ha ha ha, hee hee hee. It's funny. So the movie starts with like a little flashback into Cody Maverick, the main penguin's childhood, and how he was first introduced to surfing, and he met his icon, his role model, Big Z, and he gave him a one-of-a-kind necklace.
Could have walked up to anyone, and he walks right up to me, and he gives me this awesome one-of-a-kind Big Z necklace.
Another thing that I thought was just way too good. They asked Cody in the beginning, So, besides surfing, do you have any other talents?
Like what? Like singing and dancing?
That is just a classic little dig at Happy Feet, another penguin movie that was made around the same time. I love that. Is the soundtrack good or even memorable? Yes. Oh my god. This movie is filled with like classic 70s beachy, but also a lot of like, I guess more early 2000s pop, like action pop. I don't quite know how to describe it, but it's very good music, very action-packed, and it fits along the story very nicely. Is this movie made for all ages? It most certainly is. The humor, it's suited for people of all ages, and there are so many little things that adults will just pick up on. It's like, that's funny. Like, one of the penguins was like, this tastes like shh, and then it gets cut off by something, but it's just little things like that. It's just real good. Did this movie make me cry? No. Surprisingly, a movie that has all animals didn't make me cry. But hey, I mean, it was a very good story. I guess it just didn't really tug on my heartstrings that much. How are the characters designed and written? So, the movie Happy Feet, a different penguin movie, came out a year before this movie, Surf's Up. And just comparing the penguin designs from Happy Feet to Surf's Up blows it out of the water. But anyways, no, I really love the penguin designs. They're all different kinds of penguins, which I guess I need to look this up. Do all different species of penguins actually live together? I don't know, I don't believe so, but who knows? Let's look it up, huh? The penguins in this movie are designed perfectly. They're all very unique. You can actually tell them apart, and they have like cute little different hairstyles. They have like birthmarks that are in the shapes of flowers and like traditional tropical designs, but it's very beautiful and it doesn't make sense, but I really love their designs. And the penguins all use different objects to replace more human objects. Like Lonnie the lifeguard, she uses like a little squid in place of like her floating device. That is so cute. And one of the main penguin surfers in this movie is Big Z Topanga, and he was modeled after real-life surfer Greg Knoll. So that is very cool. How is the world design? Well, this movie is mainly in Shiverpool, Antarctica, where all the penguins live, and it's very chilly looking, very cold. But then they eventually travel to the tropical island of Penghu. I love it. It's such a cute little island, and I mean, we do see more of it in the second movie, which I will cover. But yeah, it's a very cute island. Nothing really stood out to me in terms of like design, but I have definitely seen other movies where they just don't give a single crap about the design of the world. So here, it's pretty good. Is there misogyny or bigotry? Not in this movie. I truly did not pick up on anything that was like weird or like, But yeah, it was overall such a very good movie. The humor was all very palatable and again, suited for all ages. Is the cast all white? The casting for this movie is not diverse at all. However, it is a pretty snazzy cast if I have to say so. Well, Shia LaBeouf is a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad person. He sucks. But everyone else in the movie, like Zooey Deschanel, love her. She voices Lonnie perfectly. And there were so many behind the scenes things that I saw where like all the actors were in the same room together, so it was more of like a natural flow from character to character. I thought that was so cool. And we also have Jon Heder as Chicken Joe. Love him. Love him as Chicken Joe. Literally one of the best characters. Perfect. We have Jeff Bridges as Big Z Topanga, and then we have Diedrich Bader as Tank the Evans Shredder. It's Tank the Shredder Evans. The Shredder is his name. But before I looked up the voice actors, I thought it was Will Arnett. They have the same vibe. Same voice, honestly, but I mean, I just love it. Great character. Was this movie memorable? I have to say that I did not recall a single thing from this movie. I mean, I probably watched it once or twice when it first came out, many years ago. However, I do remember having some of the Surf's Up toys from like fast food meals and whatnot, so that's all I recall. When I'm done watching, how do I feel? I thought this movie was such a feel-good, happy, uplifting movie. The story is just really phenomenal. They really dove into that story. But yeah, the story flows really well. There's a lot of great character building. Like, the characters, like, they actually evolve. That's kind of rare for children's movies, but yeah, I mean, everyone is like, I don't want to say a new person at the end of the movie, but they definitely grow and evolve. So that's cool. Does this film speak on any relevant issues, morals, or topics? I would personally say that the big lesson in this movie is learning to enjoy yourself, to love yourself, and to not let the norm stop you from doing things that you love. And I also love this quote from Big Z, one of the best characters. He said, "A good teacher doesn't just show you the waves, they help you find the way." And I'm like, work. It's just like that quote. You give a man a fish, he doesn't know how to fish, but you teach a man to fish, and then he'll learn how to catch more fish. True. Do I refer to this movie in everyday life? So, Tank the Shredder Evans. There is an iconic line from him from this first movie. Okay? There is an iconic line. And if you were on TikTok about 4 or 5 years ago, how old is TikTok? I don't know. Anyways, there was an audio from this movie from Tank where he's talking about all of his trophies. I don't know why I always thought that that was from Big Mouth or something. I don't know. Like, I mean, just the vibe of it. If you weren't even looking at it and you just hear it, you're like, but it's so iconic. So,
these are my ladies. Brianna. You know why we call her Brianna, right? Shaniqua, Helga, Jeannie. I dream of,
What are the ratings or age group for this movie? It's PG, and I'd say that's very fitting. Who is the villain of this story? I wouldn't really call him a villain. He's more just like a bully. The main antagonist, I guess, it's Tank the Shredder Evans. You will hear that name many more times. In this movie, he is not at all a nice penguin. He isn't like villain worthy, I'd say, but he's definitely a bully. He's a verbal bully and a physical bully. And he even bullies the little children penguins. It's not funny, but it's funny because just look at this clip.
Never want to get in there and, like, you know, help them out and show them how to surf and spend some time with the kids?
No, I don't want to do that. Anyway.
I mean, yeah, he does try to stop Cody from achieving his dreams, but also, I don't know, he's just mean to everyone. He's just a bully. He doesn't like, you know? I wanted to throw in some fun facts because I found so many from this movie, and I will have a link in the description that had an entire list full of things because there's no way that I would be able to share all of this within this video. But the director literally said something along the lines of, "I will not do this movie unless the water looks real." And the water looks so real in this movie. Not like so real, but for 2007, holy cow, that water looks real. I'm honestly so impressed with the production of this movie. The water alone looks so real. The sand looks real, the way it moves when they walk in it and everything. Just the way that the characters themselves move, like their hair, I don't know, Chip and Joe's thing, you know, just stuff like that. I'm like, the movement is very good. One thing that I do want to point out is that this movie is spreading misinformation. It's nothing serious at all, just other than the fact that there's a scene where Lonnie and Cody are in caves and they discover glowworms. They're up on the ceiling and they're like all within a glowing pool. Cody's in there, he's splashing around, and Lonnie says something like, "You're in the glowworm poop." I looked it up and Lonnie, you're incorrect. The glow from glowworms is actually their excretions. So instead of like producing liquid or solid waste, it's just that, and it drips down from their bodies and falls into the pools, making a pool of their glowingness. But the reason that they glow is so that they can mimic stars, so that bugs will look up and they're like, "There's the sky." They fly up and then they get caught in their little webs. That is so cool. And then another thing that was wrong about that movie is that one of them gets poked by a sea urchin which has poison in it, just like a jellyfish. And if you've heard of this little tidbit, I don't know, about jellyfish, if you get stung, pee on it, no. That won't do anything. You're supposed to remove all the stingers, all the tentacles, whatever, and run it under hot water. That will relieve everything. But also go to the hospital, please. But yeah, in this movie they said, pee on the sea urchin sting. No. But other than that, I love this movie. And to rank this movie, I would happily put it in the perfect family harmony. So, 10 years later, they decided to add a second edition to this franchise. Why? I could not tell you, other than the fact that this is when WWE was popping off with all of their cameos and collabs. So I guess they wanted to make a penguin movie? The movie is Surf's Up 2 WaveMania. This came out on January 17th, 2017 from Sony Pictures. There isn't a lot of information available about this movie online. I don't know why. I scoured everywhere. I could not find the overall production budget, so if I do find it, I'll include it. But I just find that to be odd. So how much did this movie make in box offices? Well, I would love to compare it to the first movie that made over $58 million. Surf's Up 2? Subtract $57 million from that. They made just over $1 million from this movie. So, was this movie entertaining and did it keep my attention the entire time? This movie is interesting. It started out very boring. I was like, wow, I really have to watch this for notes? But yeah, the story kind of progressed and it got a little more interesting and kind of intriguing, but it didn't really keep my attention. It wasn't very captivating, other than the weird parts, which I will be talking on, but other than that, it's just a movie. Did this movie make me laugh out loud or giggle on the inside? I did not laugh out loud. I did not giggle out loud. I did not hee hee ha ha hoo hoo. So the humor is rather dry in this movie, especially comparing it to the first one. There were some things that were kind of like when, well, it's WWE, so there's John Cena. John Cena's character, JC, when he's first introduced, he does You Can't See Me, but with his flipper.
Don't call him crazy, call him JC!
I thought that was quite amusing. So, is the soundtrack good? It's your typical action-adventure music for a children's movie, nothing special. However, they did add a WWE twist, which I do appreciate. So with each of the characters, when they were first introduced, or like whenever they would have a big talking moment within the story, they would have their theme music playing behind them. I thought that was kind of cute and very fitting for the characters. Is this movie made for all ages? This movie is most definitely geared towards younger children, definitely. But it is made for all ages, especially if you enjoy wrestling. All of the popular wrestlers like John Cena, The Undertaker, all of those other guys. Mr. McMahon, I don't know if he wrote his own lines for this movie, but if he did, I will be avoiding him. Did this movie make me cry? Again, no. I wasn't expecting my heartstrings to be tugged at all for this movie. I mean, I didn't really cry at all for the first one, but like this one, no. My heartstrings were not pulled at all. I did not really feel any sad, emotional emotions, you know? And I was not at all attached to any of the characters other than Chicken Joe and the little tiny penguins. But yeah, it really sucks because like even the main characters like Cody Maverick and Lonnie, both different voice actors, which completely changed the vibe overall of their characters. But even then, like, I just felt like they were different penguins. And another thing about them too, at the end of the first story, a little spoiler, they end up falling in like, I don't know if they're in love, but they definitely like each other. The second movie, nowhere to be found. They're just two penguins living on the same island. They know each other, but it's like, where did that chemistry go? Especially because it's supposed to be like just a few years. It can't even be years because all the baby penguins look the same, so it has to be like a few weeks later. Anyways, So they changed a lot of the voices. The only original character that is still here, the original voice, is John Heder playing Chicken Joe. Awesome. But everyone else, it's like... Oh, and Tank the Shredder Evans. He's the same. So Cody's overall vibe totally changed in this movie, and he also like kind of changed personalities. Like, he became a real a-hole in this movie. I don't know why. Well, like, I kind of know why, but even from the beginning, he was just like, Ram. I was like, what are you on? That kind of reminds me of in the Ice Age movies, I think it's the third movie where Manny the Mammoth all of a sudden just becomes a B-I-C-T-H, and it's like,
yes, she is a bitch. B-I-C-T-H.
where did this energy come from? I don't know, but I don't care for it. Like, he literally called Tank a nobody from nowhere island when Lonnie and Chicken Joe from the same island are standing right there. How is the world design? So, next question. So we start back at Pengu Island, and this is when the Hang Five, the WWE crew, rolls on in. More like surfs on in. We are introduced to many new areas like the Island of Trenches, and we see sand dunes with whale bones, and then there's like a temple with booby traps. Like, it's pretty. Nothing stood out to me, and again, the production of this movie, holy cow. Compared to the first movie, holy cow. The sand, when they are sand surfing and everything, it does not look like sand. When they're walking on sand, there's like no movement. It's just a very flat movie. Is there any misogyny or bigotry? Again, no. However, there are some really odd fetish jokes. I don't know. I'm not here to fetish shame, okay? I'm not about that. But to have things like that in a children's movie brought up 4 to 5 times, I don't know. Let me talk about it. So Hang Five is the group, the big WWE surfing group, and the main guy is Mr. McMahon. He brings this up about 4 to 5 times throughout the entire movie, and each time I was like, am I watching the right movie? Did they mean to include this? I don't know. So he says, I wish I could milk a fish. And then there's imagery, like what he's thinking of.
I like milk and fish. I just wish you could milk a fish.
What? What? And then he later says something like, I'm gonna imagine this coconut milk is fish milk, and I'm drinking it straight from the fish's udder. So yeah, there were a few other instances where he was talking about milking a fish, drinking the milk from a fish, fish's udders, things like that, and I'm like, I don't get it. I personally would not have included that in a children's movie, or any movie for that matter, but hey. And now for the casting. It is not at all diverse, diverse at all, and we unfortunately lose all of the stars except for John Heder as Chicken Joe. It's just, I don't get it. Instead of stupid Shia LaBeouf, we now have Jeremy Shada. You might know him as Finn the Human. I love Finn the Human. Jeremy Shada's cool. But wow, a new voice for that character really just changed up everything. Was this movie memorable? I didn't know of this movie's existence until I was typing notes for the first movie, and I typed Surf's Up, and then I saw 2, WaveMania. Huh? I did not know this movie existed. I feel like you wouldn't unless you are a WWE fan or like a diehard Surf's Up first movie fan. So, I don't know. The first movie was in theaters. The second movie just went straight to DVD, and that probably affected the overall budget and everything like that, but that definitely impacted my lack of knowledge of this movie. When I'm done watching, how do I feel? This was a movie. I was relieved to close my laptop. It was just an all-around okay movie. The humor was rather dry. It did not tug on my heartstrings. It really wasn't visually appealing. It was just something that was there on the screen. The storyline, it didn't even really evolve. Like, it was there, but genuinely, What even happened? And the character growth? Nowhere to be found. It's astonishing. Cody Maverick's character, the main guy, digressed. Or no. His personality went to shat, is what I'm trying to say. The budget, everything else about this, it was just a movie. Honestly, it felt more like a short or like a TV show special, especially the fact that it had WWE stars in it. I felt like I was watching an episode of Scooby-Doo. Another thing that I have to point out about the second movie is that it is filmed entirely different from the first movie. The first movie, I said it was like Abbott Elementary but for penguins, the way that it was filmed documentary style. But this movie, there were just a few shots of it looked like a news thing was on the screen. There wasn't like any organic movement like someone was holding it. There weren't like any behind the scenes like interviewing shots, which really added to the first movie, I think. And yeah, the only thing that they really had was like more sports newscaster type of thing. Like they had like a little strip on the bottom. They would have their news thing on the side for very few of the shots. I don't know. I feel like that really added to the first movie and that really took away from the second movie. Does the film speak on any relevant issues, morals, or topics? In this movie, Cody just wants to be remembered by everyone. Basically, he wants to be Big Z without saying it. He wants to accomplish more things. He wants to be known. He wants to be a big name. And in this movie, he already becomes a surfing instructor to all the little penguin kids on the island. He is their role model. They all look up to him. He has very supportive friends and maybe a family. They aren't shown at all in this movie, even though they all live together. But anyways, oh wait, no, they're back on Shiverpool. So, scratch that, reverse it. But yeah, his friends now are just like, I don't know, they seem distant. Other than Chicken Joe, still the only character that seems to be like normal, the same character as the first movie. Same vibe, same everything. But now, his career has taken off. Let's go, Chicken Joe. Anyways, back to Cody. So he's being a poop about everything. He was literally chosen by Big Z to be like the next it penguin of the island, I guess, the big surfer. And he was hand flipper picked by the Hang Five. Yet he's still being a poop about everything. Cody reminds me of Carrie Dubeck from the other two. He gets everything that he has always dreamed of, and yet he treats everyone like shite and still thinks that he's not doing enough. I highly recommend watching that show. I love it. I watched it probably 7 times now. It's really good. Anyways, do I refer to this movie in everyday life? No. Again, I didn't know it existed until about a week and a half ago. But yeah, this movie, I didn't know it existed. And will I be remembering it? No. Honestly, nothing other than Mr. McMahon and his weird comments about fish. What are the ratings for this movie and the overall age group? It is once again rated PG. And I think, again, very fitting other than the weird fish comments. That's like the only thing that is so off-putting and makes me want to like... But anyways, who is the villain of this story? It is once again Tank the Shredder Evans. In the first movie, yeah, he was a bully for days. But in this movie, he is pretty much the same. I honestly would say that the villain was... The villain is Cody. A little spoiler here, not really, because everything ended up fine, but he almost tries to off Chicken Joe in a lava pit. This penguin is over his head, just to impress the Hang Five, in which they already wanted him. They all could have been a team together, but no. He flipped that up, like Flipper. Anyways, but yeah, Tank is still a bully. Same old Tank. But he does talk more about his trophies, and I mean, that's funny. And here are some extra things that I thought were interesting. I mentioned for the first movie that the director would not do that movie unless the water looked real, in which it did. The second movie did not, and I'm assuming that's why there was a different director. That's my assumption. The promo photos for this movie are amazing. They have the real-life voice actors sitting right next to their characters in the movie. I find that to be the funniest thing ever. They did that for Sing too. Love that movie. Already rated it. So the production budget. Again, I don't know what it is. Unless I do, then put it up there. The budget overall, obviously nothing looked very real or detailed, except for this one scene where JC, John Cena's character, is lifting something off of the penguins, and they really said, hey, we're gonna put all of the money and detail and attention into this one scene. I feel like they could have put some of that budget into the water or sand. I don't know. That's just me. That's it for this movie. And to rank this movie, it's so unfortunate that I have to put it all the way at the bottom because I cannot get that hour and a half back. I really can't, and that's unfortunate, especially considering that the first movie was all the way at the top in the perfect family harmony. Anyways, time for the next movie. Welcome to Whoville! It's time for Horton Hears a Who. This movie came out on March 14th, 2008 from Blue Sky. R.I.P. The production budget for this movie was $85 million, and in box offices alone, it made well over $154 million, and that is well deserved. This movie rocks. Is this movie entertaining, and did it keep my attention the entire time? It most certainly did. The beginning scene is just so captivating. No spoilers, but we see a little seed fall from a tree and it travels all the way around, and just a beautiful little scene, and we get to see the island and everything. It's just very cute. But this movie overall is just phenomenal, and it is so visually captivating. The story is great. It's just a great movie. Is this movie funny? Yes. Oh my god, yes. I laughed out loud a few times. There's adult humor. It's really great. It's phenomenal. Obviously, there's humor for kids. It's just all around comedy gold. Is the soundtrack good? So it is mostly all instrumental, and the only song that was sung by people was at the end that I noticed. But other than that, it's just very pretty instrumental music. The movie itself really didn't need that much. The story was really great. Again, very visually appealing. So it's a very good movie to enjoy and watch. Is this movie made for all ages? Yes, it absolutely is. It's a Dr. Seuss movie, hello. But yeah, I mean, again, all the humor is made for people of all ages. The story, it's such a good story overall. This is a movie about family. Did I cry? Yes. Oh, the climax of this movie, I will not spoil anything, but the Whos have been discovered by someone who is not so good. Horton hits us with the line, "Don't give up, I believe in you all. A person is a person, no matter how small." Why is it about to make me cry again? But anyways, man, that line alone, that scene, just the whole message of the movie, it's too good. The character and world design is phenomenal. Again, a Dr. Seuss story, so everything is gonna just look really cool overall, but seeing it in that 3D animation style just brings it to life. The production value for this movie, I was just looking at a little scene from within Whoville, just the shadows, the lighting on everything, the way all the characters are moving and interacting with each other. I was so very impressed. And I mean, I just love this movie because we have your generic gray elephant, and then we have a fluffy purple kangaroo. It doesn't quite make sense, but it just works so well together. Both Whoville and the Jungle of Newell are so beautiful. I want to live in both. Although I don't think I would. I would have to be as small as a who or as big as an elephant. But they're just so cute. Is there any misogyny or bigotry? So the dad, the mayor, is basically forcing his one and only son to do a manly role, to be the head of the house and become the next mayor, when he has 96 daughters who are all incredibly talented and very gifted. And it's very obvious in the movie, they're all doing things all the time. So I'd rather have one of them be mayor. But anyways, for casting, not very good. It's 98% white. Except for Miss Yelp. I love her character. She's played by Niecy Nash. And also, there are additional voices played by Madison Pettis, and I find that to be so funny because during this time, 2008, she was popping off, especially with like kids movies and stuff like that. So I find that funny why she wasn't like more of a main role. But anyways, but this is honestly an all-star cast and I do love it. We have Steve Carell as Ned, who is the mayor of Whoville, Jim Carrey as Horton the elephant. We have Will Arnett as the terrifying vulture. I don't care for her at all, but we have Joey King as Katie, probably everyone's favorite character, the girl who just goes into the bushes. And we have the world-renowned Jesse McCartney playing everyone's childhood crush, JoJo. Is this movie memorable? Absolutely. I watched this movie so much as a tiny tot, and I mean, I haven't really watched it a lot recently, but rewatching it, everything came back and it was just such a feel-good, nostalgic movie. And I mean, of course, I read the book as well, so that, perfect. I genuinely love this movie so much. From all the characters and their growth, the world building, like everything. It's such a captivating movie and story. It's beautiful. Are there any relevant issues, morals, or topics? Other than the classic overused parent wanting their child to be just like them and wanting them to pursue all the same things that they did, not really at all. This movie is phenomenal. Do I refer to this movie? Not the movie itself, however, I do think about truffle trees very often, and whenever I see a dandelion, the last dandelion, I think of that, but then I also think of truffle trees. Who is the villain of the story? So, there seems to be quite a few different characters who are after Whoville, the little speck on this truffle tree. So, that sucks, but there is a main villain, and her name is Jane Kangaroo. She is nasty, she's gnarly, she is a bitch. She tries to stop her little kangaroo son in her pouch from doing many things and accomplishing the things that he wants to do and being his own person. She's mean to every other character living in the jungle of Newell. She's incredibly mean to Horton. She's like a straight up bully to him all the time. I mean, even the vulture guy who she hired, no spoilers, but she hired him to do something. She's mean to him as well, and it's like, girl, what? Stop. And to rank this movie, I will happily put it in the perfect family harmony. I love this movie so much. I love it. It's awesome. I'm a goofy goober rock. If you could not tell, the next movie that I will be covering is the SpongeBob Squarepants movie. And this came out on November 19th, 2004 from Rough Draft Studios, almost 20 years ago. As you may be able to tell, I'm wearing my handmade Goofy Goober Rock outfit and a full-length cape. Well, not like the outfit, I would just wear like a black leotard, bodysuit, but yeah. So, the production budget for this movie was a whopping $30 million. However, in box offices, it made well over $141 million. And I do remember seeing this, well, not really in theaters, but it was playing in a parking lot on a blow-up movie theater screen like a few years after that. It was odd, but that was the first time I was introduced to the movie, which is weird. So, that was like a core memory. So, is this movie entertaining and does it keep my attention the entire time? Easy peasy lemon squeezy. I love this movie. It is captivating. The movie literally starts out with real life pirates traveling to the movie theater to see the premiere of this movie.
Tickets to the SpongeBob movie!
Like that alone, A+. But everything else in this movie is so iconic, so funny, so memorable, so nostalgic. It's perfect. Does this movie make me laugh out loud or giggle on the inside? I think you already know. I'm laughing and hooting and tooting. Well, I'm not so much tooting, but I'm hooting. This movie's funny. But I am literally laughing out loud at every single joke in this movie. It's just too good. I could honestly just include the entire movie within this video, but I can't. But there are so many little tidbits, little remarks, things in the background being done by like side characters. It's just so good. One of the funniest things throughout this movie is Patrick's obsession with Mindy the mermaid. All of their conversations, not even really conversations, more just the things that he says to her, they're just funny.
What's my name?
That's easy. You're Patrick Star.
And of course, I feel like this is probably the most iconic scene from the movie, David Hasselhoff playing David Hasselhoff, and him running on the beach, saving SpongeBob and Patrick, him becoming a human speedboat slash launch pad. I mean, it does not get any better than that. It really doesn't. Is the soundtrack good, and is it even memorable? Girl. So many good songs came from this movie. Like, we have Best Day Ever, Now That We're Men, the Goofy Goober theme song in Goofy Goober Rock, and of course, Ocean Man. Ocean Man, take me by the hand. And then as I was writing notes for this, I discovered that the rest of the soundtrack for this movie is equally as good. It's just your classic 60s, 70s kind of beachy vibe, but then it's also a little bit of like early 2000s pop and like weird funky vibes, and it's just great. And as I was looking at the soundtrack, I then discovered that Queen Avril Lavigne covered the SpongeBob theme song, and they only played it during like trailers and commercials for the movie. It's like not even in the movie. Is this movie made for all ages? Yes, it definitely is. There's humor for people of all ages, but of course there are only certain things that adults will pick up in like little remarks and things like that. It's too good. And all the humor, of course, is very palatable, very appropriate, but it's very good. Comedy gold. Did this movie make me cry? I just don't cry anymore because I've seen it so many times. But the sad part is when they go to Shell City, and the stupid, the guy, the scuba diver, that's what they're called. Hate him. Yeah, that whole scene is just so sad, them laying on the table. That's very sad, but I did not cry from sadness. I cried of laughter, and that's the best kind of crying, am I right? The comedy, again, is just so good to the point where my eyes are welling up with tears. It's that funny. How are the characters designed and written? If you did not know, the SpongeBob SquarePants movie from 2004, that was supposed to be like the big finale, like the ending of SpongeBob. I kind of wish it was. Although we did get a few good episodes in the next few years after that, but then when it got to like 2009, 2010, everything just went right. Anyways, all the characters are designed in their like original designs. I'm gonna put like a before SpongeBob and after so you can see what I'm saying here. But yeah, I'm glad they stuck to what they originally did. But this movie is prime SpongeBob. From the way it's illustrated, the humor, the music, the story, it's just perfect. The world design. So we finally get to see even more locations from all around Bikini Bottom. We finally get to see the Thug Tug bar where it has all the motorcycle guys, and this is where we get the iconic line about bubble blowing babies.
You all know the rules.
All bubble-blowing babies will be beaten senseless by every able-bodied patron in the bar.
We see King Triton's castle, the Goofy Goober ice cream parlor, Shell Shitty or City, and Planktopolis. Is there any misogyny or bigotry? The only thing that has ever really stuck out to me years after watching this movie is the manly man aspect of it. I mean, there's literally the song, Now That We're Men, in which that they are given mustaches to feel more manly, more powerful. But in reality, they had it within them all along. I mean, it's not really like a huge thing at all. It's just the only thing that I did notice, so of course I wrote it down. But other than that, this movie's pristine. The casting for this movie is not at all diverse. However, we do get all of the original OGs that played all of the original characters, and we also get Scarlett Johansson, who plays Mindy the Mermaid. And then I'm really glad that they casted David Hasselhoff as David Hasselhoff. I mean, I don't think anyone else could have really played him as well as he did. Is this movie memorable? This movie is etch-a-sketched, chiseled, engraved into my brain. I've seen it so many times and I will continue to watch it year after year. I love this movie. It's so memorable. And nostalgic, of course. When I'm done watching, how do I feel? This is a very lighthearted, feel-good movie. It does tug at your heartstrings. The storyline is very good. There's a lot of character growth. Of course, all the nostalgia from it. It's just really good. Does the film speak on any relevant issues, morals, or topics? This movie actually gives us quite a few wonderful lessons, like not underestimating the power of friendship and to not take criticism from others. Don't let other people tell you that you can't when you can. Because look at all the characters who doubted SpongeBob and Patrick and said that they could not do it, and they ended up saving all of Bikini Bottom. So, yeah. Do I refer to this movie in everyday life? Yes, I do. From Goofy Goober Rock to Now That We're Men. I mean, I am very much a goofy goober, and I like to remind myself of that. The ratings and age group for this movie is PG, and I think that is very fitting. Of course, everything is very palatable for all ages. Who is the villain of the story? Well, as always, it's Plankton. Literally nothing in this story would have happened without Plankton and all of his shenanigans. However, we do have another villain, Dennis. He's a bad boy. And I also cosplayed him, so you should check that out. Dennis is hired by Plankton. Spoiler, he's on a mission, so is he really the villain? I don't know. I would say one of the true villains is the scuba diver from Shell Shitty. I don't like him. But overall, I just love this movie so much. It is a classic for so many good reasons, and if for whatever reason you have not seen this film, I highly recommend watching it. And I will be putting this in the perfect family harmony. The next movie is the Lego Movie. This came out February 7th, 2014 from Warner Animation Studios. It's me,
Batman.
If you're curious, yes, I already did watch and rank the Lego Batman movie, and you can watch that in episode 1. So the production budget for the Lego Movie was $60 million, and it made over a whopping $257 million. That's a lot. Is this movie entertaining, and does it keep my attention the entire time? Yes. Everything in this movie is Lego. From the water to the sand and smoke and lasers and of course all the people, but even all their houses and decorations, and like everything is Lego. And also the way that they add texture to everything, like having like dust falling or like scratches or scuffs on the Lego pieces, it looks so real. And already one of the best characters that you will see in this movie is Vitruvius. He has a staff that is a chewed up old sucker. I mean, and he even says, all of this is true because it rhymes. That's just funny. Does this movie make me laugh out loud or just giggle on the inside? I am hollering like a witch on Halloween. Like, hello, this movie is so funny. I'm bursting out in laughter. The humor in this movie is just incredible. There's like always something to be laughing at. Again, characters in the background doing things. I think that is a really underrated thing to elevate your movie or piece of content, whatever. Like I'm looking all around, and I find it so funny whenever I notice things like that. Like they have a cloak of Band-Aid, and it's really hard to take off. Come on. Is the soundtrack good or memorable? It is definitely memorable. So the main song in this movie, and I guess the second movie too, is Everything is Awesome. I was forced to sing that for choir. We sang that song. But yeah, I mean, that really just engraved that song into my head. It's already a very catchy song, but other than that, I will be honest with you, no other songs stood out to me. It's mostly just instrumental. Honestly, I think that's kind of perfect, but considering the fact that in the first movie, all of the Lego people who... Is it Lego City? Where do they live? Anyways, all the Legos in the city of Legos, they all have a very similar mindset and they all love that song. So I think it's even funnier the fact that that's like basically the only song that really plays throughout the movie. I think it's perfect in that way, but I personally find that song to be quite annoying. Is this movie made for all ages? Yes, it is. Of course, I mean, it's Legos, hello, but you have characters from every franchise. I mean, we have all the DC characters. I guess no Marvel, but I honestly prefer all the DC characters better in this. But I mean, so many random things like NBA basketball players. They had, you know, other franchises. But yeah, literally anything that you can think of, there's probably a Lego character of that in the movie, and it's awesome. Did this movie make me cry? No. I don't know. I mean, I love this movie. I'm very attached to the movie. It's just, I don't know. It doesn't really pull on my heartstrings that way. How are the characters designed and written? So I kind of already touched on this, but the fact that everything is Lego and it looks like real with the dust and scratches, that completely elevates everything, especially as a Lego lover myself. Each character is written so perfectly, like they're all so unique with their personalities and everything. And I think all the voice actors are just perfect for this as well, except for Chris Pratt. I don't like him at all, but everyone else slays. Like, we literally have Liam Neeson voicing with his suave, chill voice, a crazed good cop, bad cop. ACAB, but I mean, his voice alone with that character, I just love it. And the world design, I mean, I think it's even better. All Lego, but we see all of the different worlds that are all Lego, like the Western world. We see the giant ocean and everything, like kind of go into space. We see like a real life basement house and everything. We see a real life basement. So with the casting, it is not diverse at all. However, they did seem to choose some of the funniest people ever for this movie. Not Chris Pratt, but we do have Will Ferrell. I mean, hello, he's funny in every single thing, but he plays like the real life dad in this movie. No spoilers, but his character really influences a lot of the other characters in this movie. If you know, you know. But we have Elizabeth Banks, we have Will Arnett. I think I'm becoming just a Will Arnett super fan. I don't know, maybe it's just because he plays Batman and he's so good at it. But God, he's great. Oh, and another franchise, we literally have the Anthony Daniels, the OG C-3PO, playing C-3PO in this movie. I mean, they have everyone. And when it comes to misogyny and bigotry, we do not see that at all in this movie. It's fabulous. Is this movie memorable? Most certainly. The song Everything is Awesome is engraved into my brain. But this movie alone, I just love it so much, and it's a very nostalgic movie. It came out already 10 years ago, but I love this movie. When I'm done watching, how do I feel? The ending of the movie, I mean, it's a happy ending for the most part until Lego Duplo comes into play. Does the film speak on any relevant issues, morals, or topics? The most obvious lesson that I caught was that your uniqueness makes you, you. And I think that's a fabulous thing to have in a children's movie. And of course, they also dove into the power of team building and building relationships and making friends. And so I think that's also great. And also the fact that all of these Legos are so different from one another, I think that's also cool. One thing that I do want to touch on now that I do wish I had previously spoken about, but I will now continue to talk about in upcoming episodes, is the Bechdel test. This is, and I quote, a way of evaluating whether or not a film or other work of fiction portrays women in a way that is sexist or characterized by gender stereotyping. To pass the Bechdel test, a work must feature at least 2 women. These women must talk to each other, and their conversation must concern something other than a man. Unfortunately, this movie did not at all pass that test. The two main female roles of this movie are Wildstyle and Unikitty, both of which are only ever talking about all of the other men in this movie. And it sucks because both their characters alone are so awesome and badass, and they really impact the story. But do I refer to this movie in everyday life? Not the movie itself, however, everything about the movie is constantly running through my head. I'll just imagine a scene randomly. I'm like, yeah. But even simple things like now just hearing Taco Tuesday, I'll think of this movie. And another thing that I love in this movie, and the other movie as well, the Lego Movie 2, is that they like to take everyday objects and turn them into not a Lego version, but just like something more kiddish, I guess. Like there is a bottle of super glue that's like holy in the Lego world, and they call it Craggle, and it's like the ultimate bonding agent in their world, and yeah, it like permanently makes Legos stay the way they are. But yeah, that's a major thing in this movie, but I think it's so funny. The overall ratings and age group for this movie is PG, and I do think that is fitting. Who is the villain of the story? Well, it is President Business. I love his character design. It's so funny. Like the mugs on his headpiece, his super long stilt legs that when he like steps down they like decrease. I don't know, it's just so funny. It's so good. I love his character. However, he is a villain. He uses the Craggle super glue to make everything perfect in the world and keep it as it is so that other Legos aren't building together basically. But yeah, he literally builds borders in between the worlds to prevent them from crossing over, and I'm like, oh. But overall, I think this is a really great story. It evolves good, there is character growth, visually captivating. The music, apart from that one song, I mean, that isn't memorable. Overall, it's a very good movie and I enjoy it a lot. However, when I compare this movie to the Lego Batman movie and the Lego Movie 2, the second part, which I will cover next, I have to put this in the second row. Yeah, I'd buy this secondhand. Only when comparing it to the other movies, but alone, it is a great movie. So, for the Lego Movie 2, the second part, they upped their budget, but they only made half of what they did from the first movie. So, the production budget for the second movie was $90 million, $30 million more than the first movie, and the second movie only made $105 million, which is well under half than $257 million from the first movie. Not the best comparison, but this movie rocks. So, is this movie entertaining and does it keep my attention the entire time? It most certainly is amazing and I love this movie. It picks up right where the first movie ends. Like I said, it was a happy ending until Lego Duplo arrived. And in the second movie, we see what happens right after that. I won't give any major spoilers, I'll try not to, but the Lego Duplo has a major role. So the first movie is mainly about the father and his son and their relationship in the Legos in the basement. That's basically it. The second movie, now the sister is allowed to play. She's a younger sister, so she has her Lego Duplo and everything, Lego friends, all of those other kind of Legos. And it is so funny. I just love how they incorporate all the Legos together. But the Legos from Planet Duplo come down and they eat lasers. It's so stupid and silly and I love it. Does this movie make me laugh out loud? I am cackling. Oh my gosh, I realized I said I was hollering like a witch. I think witches cackle. I was cackling like a witch. This movie is pristine. I think the comedy in this one is better than the first, which is surprising because it's so good. There are things like naming it the Sistar system, the sister system. Come on. In the first movie, Superman is bullying Green Lantern. It's funny. It's very palatable bullying, but it's so funny. And then in the second movie, that just continues and too good. And just like the SpongeBob movie, I feel like I could include this entire movie in here for funny moments. one of the best, it's just too good. And it's Batman. Here it is. Is the soundtrack good? Yes, it is hands down so much better than the first movie. I mean, they do have Everything is Awesome, unfortunately. However, it is definitely not played as much as it is in the first movie. In this movie, it's more of a musical, honestly, but it's very good. Very good. All of the songs do help the storyline progress, and each character seems to have their own moment where they get to shine, but the music is still, it's very good. It's very pop-like, and it honestly reminds me of like Trolls music, which I love. And then there is an end credits song, which I watched all the way through. I usually don't really watch the end credits unless it's something really good, like the Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs end credits, or that's all I can think of, but this one was good. It continued the story, kind of. It was like, it's just really cute in the way that it was animated, and the song they played. It's called The Catchy Song, and it is a catchy song. Is this movie made for all ages? Yes, it definitely is. And I mean, I'd say even with Lego Duplo now, like, babies can watch it. Well, I mean, babies can watch the first one too, but obviously Lego Duplo is made for babies. But I honestly think this one is funnier than the first one. The humor is just way too good.
I know. What's up, GL? I see you, boy. Flex with the smoothies.
Who wants a mango berry blast with a reusable straw?
Did this movie make me cry? I, for some reason, left that one blank on my notes, but I have a feeling that I did shed a tear, and this was only my second time watching it, and I feel like, yeah, this was an emotional movie, I'd say. How are the characters designed and written? It somehow got even better with this one too. I feel like all their personalities just really blossomed, and we got to see so much more humor and intelligence from all the characters, and it's just great. But in this movie, everything is getting destroyed by Lego Duplo and whatnot, so they have to move to Apocalypseburg, which is basically right on top of the Batcave. I've already mentioned Lego Duplo, and they are amazing, but I love how they included the Lego friends in this one. I do have some Lego friends in storage and whatnot, but I mean, I feel like those got hate for so long, up until recently. I don't know. Like, I get it. They really don't look like Lego at all, but at the same time, like, it's Lego. You just gotta love it. With world design, we discover so many more worlds in this one, and I think they are all just A+. Just the way all the different locations look and their names that they're given, they're just so good. The names are so clever. And also all the different characters living there, it's great. I just watched the movie. Misogyny and bigotry is nowhere to be found in this movie as well, and it's fabulous. The cast is still not very diverse, however, we now have Miss Queen Maya Rudolph, love her. And we also have Channing Tatum as Superman and Jonah Hill as Green Lantern. The fact that their characters, Superman and Green Lantern in the movie, they bicker and butt heads, but then I also recently just watched 21 and 22 Jump Street for the very first time. I think those are some of the funniest movies I've ever seen. Them two together, amazing. And also, I think I am becoming a Channing Tatum fan. I used to just not like him. Maybe he was just too pretty, and I was like, I don't like you. But now I do. And speaking of Superman, in this movie, he has a different name.
By the way, S stands for silly now. I'm Silly Man.
Is this movie memorable? Before starting it, I was genuinely thinking that I had never seen this movie before. But then as soon as I hit play, I'm like, whoa, everything came back. And I love the movie. Although I really did not remember a lot of it. I mean, I don't know what was happening in 2019 where, I don't know, maybe like that was the start of the Great Depression for me, so that's probably why I didn't really remember it. But watching it a second time around, great. When I'm done watching, how do I feel? I already said that the end credits are just amazing to watch, but overall, this movie is a very feel-good, happy, inspiring movie, and the music in this one, just so much better and very enjoyable. Does the film speak on any relevant issues, morals, or topics? I would say that the overall lesson in this movie is to have trust in yourself and to trust in your friends. And if things seem to be going in a different direction or just things aren't feeling right, just talk to those people instead of going back in time and kidnapping yourself and trying to change the world and make it how you want. A little spoiler, but do I refer to this movie in everyday life? Sadly not, as I hardly remembered it. However, I think I will be now. The overall ratings and age group for this movie is PG, and again, I do think that that is very fitting. Who is the villain of this story? So she might not have the best way of going about things, but she does have good intentions, and that is Queen Whatever I Wanna Be, aka Whatever I Wanna Be. And one very cool thing is that she is a shapeshifter, so that is very fitting with her name as well. And she honestly is giving very Trolls vibe. Her color, her vibe, she could be in the Trolls movie. There's also another character who is the true villain. I don't want to give too many spoilers. However, he's someone that you already know. One funny thing about this villain, though, is that they were abandoned in the dust planet of Undar the Dryer system. Under the dryer. It's too good, but he is evil. And some other funny things, like Undar the Dryer system and the Sistar system, love it. The gate at the top of the stairs is a portal into another dimension. Like, come on, that's too good. Overall, this movie deserves an A++, 110% gold stamp. It's fabulous, and I will be putting this at the very top as the perfect family harmony. Ninjago, I'm the brown ninja. So yeah, I didn't really know what to do for Ninjago, so I made up my own brown ninja. So, this is the Lego Ninjago movie. This came out on September 22nd, 2017 from Warner Animation Group. The budget for this movie was $70 million and they only made just over $53 million. Comparing that to the other two Lego movies, even the Batman movie. Yikes! So, is this movie entertaining and did it keep my attention the entire time? I love Lego Ninjago, the show. This movie, on the other hand, does this movie make me laugh out loud or just giggle on the inside? Unfortunately, I don't recall myself bursting out into laughter, even at all, like the other Lego movies, which is sad. I maybe did a little hee-hee under my breath, but I'm, again, comparing it to the humor from the other movies, it's so dry. There were some funny parts, like when Lord Garmadon calls his son Lloyd, and it's just Lloyd, but Lloyd? And he calls him, and the ringtone is the OG Ninjago theme song. I love that. I have so much appreciation for that. And then he also says to him, I'm trying to go get that green ninja, when his son on the phone is the green ninja. Not a spoiler, but...
Hello?
Hello? What do you want?
Another funny thing is that they played the Wilhelm scream 7 times throughout the movie. I feel like we only hear it once, twice, maybe 3 times in like your standard movie, but no, they played it 7 times. And I mean, they knew that that would be funny because I did, but not out loud. For the soundtrack, it was actually really good. I really enjoyed the soundtrack. It was all very punk, rock, pop, very fitting for the Lego Ninjago guys as they are all in high school, but every other song in that, I almost said the show, R.I.P. the show, but every song in this movie is also really good. There's a song called It's Garmadon, and it just reminds me of What's My Name? Uma from Descendants 2. It's basically the same vibe. Villain, baddie, who am I? This is me. Is this movie made for all ages? Yes, but it is definitely geared more towards kids, younger kids at that. And it sucks because, like, again, all the other Lego movies and the Lego Batman movie, they're made for everyone. But this one is definitely made for like high school boys. Did this movie make me cry? No. I really did not get attached to any of the characters. There wasn't like any emotional parts. It was just a movie. On to the next bit, the character designs and how they're written. Boy, oh boy, I've said it once and I'll say it again, this movie is very different from all the other Lego movies, especially in the way that everything is designed. It's Lego, but it's not. I grew up watching the Lego Ninjago show, so to watch that and then watch this movie, it honestly, I felt betrayed. The characters from the show to the movie are, from my memory, pretty much the same. I need to go back to the show just to check this, but in the movie, the characters move very organically, not Lego-like. If it was like that in the show as well, then I guess I'll remove that deduction, I guess.
To forge the perfect weapon.
That really takes away from the Lego aspect of it. I mean, even when characters are like action-packed in the other movies, they're moving like this, they're hopping around. It's like they're Legos, but not in this one. And the world design is unfortunately even worse. It makes me sad. It honestly makes me sad. In the other Lego movies, everything is Lego. Water splashing, we have little studs, smoke in the air, we have like little scratches and dust on everything. Like it's all Lego, it all looks real. This movie, not at all. The water looks better than the water in Surf's Up 2, but it doesn't look good because it's not in Lego. There are so many other things where I'm like, why didn't you just make that Lego? And I wrote this down too, like even the potted plants were not in Lego. The tiny little decorations, the animals. Jeez Louise. One thing that I did find to be funny, but it also took away from the movie, not so much a spoiler, but there is a real live cat in the movie, and it's cute and everything, but it's like, I just don't get it, because it would make sense to have a real cat in the Lego movie if it were like from the actual Lego movie and we see real humans and everything. This one, it's like, it's not even a part of like the same Lego universe. I don't know, it's weird. So when it comes to bigotry and misogyny, that is nowhere to be found, which is fabulous. And the cast itself is incredibly diverse. We have the Jackie Chan as Master Wu. We have Dave Franco as Lloyd. There's even Fred Armisen, and I don't know if you can quite tell with the glare. Kumail Nanjiani, and just so many other amazing people and a great cast. So, was this movie memorable? No, I had never seen it prior to this, and funny story, I was actually supposed to go see it when it came out in theaters, but I was too scared and nervous to go alone with a boy, and so I made up some excuse to not go. And I guess I waited 7 more years to watch it, but maybe I should have taken that as a sign. When I'm done watching this movie, how do I feel? This movie is such a letdown. Again, comparing it to all of the other Lego movies, the Lego Batman movie. I need to compare it to the Lego Ninjago show again to see how they move, but even that aside, this movie is just womp womp. One thing that I wrote in my notes that was very different from all the other Lego movies, again, is that the movement in this movie, there were so many like camera movements, so many quick cuts. There were like 0.5-second clips, and then it was just very chaotic, and honestly to the point where I'm like, what am I watching? Like, it wasn't the entire movie, but many of the fight scenes, which was about half the movie, but I did not care for that.
Come on, charge! Charge! Hurry up! Charge!
Are there any relevant issues, morals, or topics in the movie? Yes. I think out of any Lego movie, this one had the most obvious lessons, and I think that's pretty good, especially for a kids movie. I feel like there should always be a lesson to learn. Mainly in this one, it's to be open to new things and to keep doing what you're doing. Don't take crap from other people. Just keep being you. Do I refer to this movie in everyday life? No, not at all. It's such a letdown. For overall ratings and age group and whatnot, it's rated PG. I think that's fitting. I think all of these are PG. They're all fitting. Who's the villain of this story, you ask? It's Lord Garmadon, Lloyd's son. Lloyd's father. And honestly, I think he is my favorite character. He is so funny. His character, the way he's designed, it's so cool. Like, so cool. So he lives on a volcanic island that is a mile away from Ninjago City, where the green ninja Lloyd lives. And he moved to this volcano because he felt that his home on the city of Ninjago, he thought his home there was too unstable, and so he moved to a volcano. He is easily the funniest character. If anything from this movie did make me laugh, it came from him. I mean, like, yeah, the humor's okay, but again, comparing it to every other Lego movie, it's... So, to rate this movie, I'd have to put this in, well, that was a movie. Again, only comparing it to the other Lego movies, and because they are so pristine. I don't know if I can articulate that enough, but that is why. Please do not let that total bummer of a movie get you down, because it's time to go over the Hedge, that is. I believe somebody phoned because of an animal problem. The solution is standing before you. Dwayne LaFontaine is here. So the very next and final movie today is Over the Hedge. This movie came out on May 19th, 2006 from DreamWorks Studios. The budget for this movie was $80 million and they made well over $155 million in box offices, and that is well deserved. So, is this movie entertaining and did it keep my attention the entire time? Absolutely. From the get-go, the story is so captivating. RJ the raccoon is seen trying to get all the food for the winter, but he ends up stealing from a bear, in which he then dumps all the food and wakes up the bear, and all that food is run over by a semi-truck. And that is when the story begins, because his whole thing is just to get more food. And where would he get the food to replace that, you ask? Well, over the hedge. And by the way, the hedge's name is Steve.
Let's call it Steve.
Steve?
It's a pretty name.
Heard that, young man. You get over here right now.
Okay.
Does this movie make me laugh out loud or just giggle on the inside? I was laughing out loud like Hilary Duff the entire time.
Laugh out loud.
This is another incredibly underrated movie, and it needs to be watched more because it's so good. It's so funny. Everything from just the Girl Scouts seeing a turtle butt.
Stay still. Gross.
Dwayne LaFontaine and all of his shenanigans, of course. And there's just so much silly, stupid humor in this movie, and it's too good. So how is the soundtrack in this movie? I would say it's very enjoyable. We get a bunch of early 2000s pop, kind of chill music, and it really just reminds me of all of the classic nostalgic songs that we get from the Shrek movies. And keep an eye out for future episodes because I will be covering that entire franchise, Shrek the Halls included. Is this movie made for all ages? Yes, it is. The humor in this movie is impeccable. It's so funny, it's so good. No matter what age you are, you will be laughing at something all the time. Just the way that the animals interact with each other, the way that they move around, fart noises. Fart noises will always be funny, okay? Did this movie make me cry? Yes. And honestly, I was crying right away. When RJ pulls out a map of the forest that they are in, they're trying to figure out where they are. And then there is a giant neighborhood all the way around that tiny little forest. That is just a bit too real. So yeah, that made me tear up a bit. But other sad things? Not really. It's just a really funny, good movie. So the way that the characters are designed and written is just phenomenal. From all of the animal characters to the human characters. Everyone is just written perfectly, in my opinion. It's a DreamWorks movie. So all the animals just look like they're from the Bee Movie. All the humans look like they're from Megamind or something. Both of which I still need to cover and I will include in future episodes. So, the world design. We really only ever see the forest, the little highway from the forest to the neighborhood area and then the neighborhoods. So the neighborhoods themselves are very cookie cutter, which I guess adds to the ginormous colossal feel of them surrounding the forest. I mean, in real life, I don't like cookie cutter houses, but for this movie, I feel like it really adds so much. It really adds to the feel, you know? And of course, we only just see the map. All aboard the eco-anxiety train. Is there any misogyny or bigotry? No, not at all, not in this movie. It's fabulous. This is a prime example of a movie that is like, you're cackling with laughter at any age. It's so funny, but it's still palatable and appropriate and good and funny. It's great. The casting, on the other hand, is very white. The only non-white actor we have is Miss Queen Wanda Sykes. Love her. She also seems to be a voice actor in almost every other single animated movie. She knows where it's at. But this movie has actors like Bruce Willis, Steve Carell, and even Avril Lavigne. She was here for SpongeBob and now Over the Hedge. She knows the good movies. Was this movie memorable? I really did not recall most things, only like a few certain scenes from when I saw it many years ago. Other than that, it was just very nice to watch again. Things weren't coming back, it was kind of like watching a new movie, but I enjoyed it nonetheless. When I'm done watching this movie, how do I feel? I love this movie. I will be manifesting that I can thrift this in the thrift stores very soon because I need to have this on DVD. This movie is awesome. It's very underrated. I don't know why it's so underrated. Hopefully now that I'm talking about it, you people will watch it and then everyone will watch it. Does this film speak on any relevant morals, issues, or topics? Yes. Basically, this movie is all about deforestation. Not really all about it, but that's a pivotal point in this movie, and it makes me very sad. But it's a movie. But it's still real. So the moral of the story is don't fuck with nature or nature will fuck with you. Do I refer to this movie in everyday life? No, I never have. I might. And for ratings of age groups and all that stuff, it is once again rated PG. All these movies are PG, appropriate for all ages. And who is the villain of this story, you may ask? Well, that is Dwayne LaFontaine.
I believe someone phoned about an animal problem. The solution is standing before you. Dwayne LaFontaine is here.
I tried to dress like him. He's actually wearing an orange jumpsuit, but I feel like it's pretty similar. Also, his hair, pretty similar as well. So I think I did a pretty good job with this cosplay. He's brunette, he wears glasses, he wears the color orange, and he's always scheming. Sounds a lot like Vector to me. But of course we would not even see Dwayne LaFontaine if it was not for Gladys, aka the Karen of the neighborhood. Both of those characters are written so well. They're villains, yes, very much so, but I love their characters. And to rank this movie, I would happily, easy peasy lemon squeezy, put it up at the top at the perfect family harmony. I don't think in episodes 1 and 2 we had that many at the top, so this was a rather positive episode, I'd say. I am so glad that I finally got to continue this series. It has been 8 months since episodes 1 and 2, so I will do episode 4 in a shorter time span than that, most certainly. So thank you for watching. And I highly recommend watching episodes 1 and 2. They will be linked down below. I watched many classics like the Lego Batman movie, the Sing series, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, and each and every one of the Ice Age movies. There are so many of those movies. And I also debuted my Joker cosplay in both of those, so go check it out if you like that. And if you made it this far, comment, I'm a goofy goober. Rock. It can just be I'm a goofy goober, but if you want to add rock, go for it. I truly hope that this video brought you some good vibes, a laugh, a haha, a hee hee, or maybe you even laughed out loud like Hilary Duff. I do recommend checking out most of these movies as they are very awesome. Whether you are new to my channel and this is your very first video, welcome, or if you're returning, Thank you and welcome again. With this channel, I plan to educate and promote the values that really matter most to me, and to keep this community a safe, inclusive, and lighthearted space for people of all identities. You are welcome here, and this channel will remain that way. There is no room for hate here, and as Gloria Gaynor once said, go on now, go. Walk out the door, turn around now, because you are not welcome anymore. I love that song. As always, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and be kind to the earth. Please continue to use your voice, use your platform, and use your power. Continue to boycott complicit brands and be there for one another. We now need it more than ever. And please take time and take care of yourself. I'm sending you all a virtual hug and loads of love, and I want to thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Please be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more, and turn on my post notifications because I am posting very consistently now, and I'm also going live every Tuesday and every Friday. I don't know what else to say. I've been recording for many hours. The sun is setting, the wind, this is crazy. I'm tired, and I feel like I can barely even speak anymore. My words are just jimble jamble. But thank you for watching, and I will see you on my next video or my next live. Have a fabulous day. I am thrifting. It's finally time for episode 3 of my animated movie tier list series.